And we're speaking on our live line this morning with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Tom, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, how are things going with online learning for the teachers at Canisteo Greenwood?
I think it's going very well. Obviously in the beginning it was a little, we didn't have a lot of time to plan for it. If you remember, we got the word on March 14th that we were going to be closing school for a little bit. We had our teachers in on Monday the 16th, and then we started educating immediately after that. We didn't have the students come back at all the week of March 16th, and they haven't been here since. So we jumped right into it. It's going very well. Currently, we're at 93% participation rate at the high school level. We get reports back from the teachers of students they haven't been able to connect with or haven't participated, and we have that list, and we've been able to, with guidance counselors, social workers, principals, interventionists, help getting out into those family settings and getting the kids involved. So I'm very pleased with what's going on right now. There's a lot of great things happening here at Canisteo Greenwood.
Do you think that once the COVID-19 problem is over and students are back to school in class, in person, do you think there will be an increase in online learning at Canisteo Greenwood?
That's a great question. There almost has to be, right? There's been a lot of talk across the state about how school will look when we return, what the CDC recommendations and requirements will be with social distancing and things like that. So if there's one thing that this closure has done is that it has exposed how well a district has done in preparing their teachers and students in those 21st century skills that we always talk about. Remote work, going paperless, collaborative online learning. These are all skills that our teachers have had the opportunity to receive professional development for years. But as you know, necessity is the mother of all learning. So many of the teachers have been thrown into having to do this, and they're doing a fantastic job. And this, where some individuals are just a little bit more technologically savvy than others. So you have a different spectrum of what it looks like, but everyone has jumped in feet first, and we have teachers assisting other teachers and videos and online platform and things like that. So when we do come back, it'll kind of have opened the door a little bit more for that online learning. As you know, many colleges are going to hybrid models where you're in class a couple of days and then you're on a Zoom session a couple other days. So it's giving a taste to our students of what they could be seeing not only in college but in the workplace, where students are coming. There's been some talk, and this is just speculation, of course, because we really haven't seen a lot of guidance from state ed on what school is going to look like when we come back. But there has been some talk about a hybrid model where in the fall, depending on what's going on with COVID-19, you could see where students are coming into the building part-time and then doing some online work the following day so the school can be disinfected. But again, this is just all discussion, and there hasn't been anything set in stone, but there has been a lot of conversation about what a hybrid model could look like coming off the COVID closure.
Yes, and I almost wonder if that's going to happen in the workplaces too. We're talking with Canisteo Greenwood Superintendent Tom Crook. Tom Crook, while parents are not doing what you call homeschool lessons here, the parents are not the teachers. The teachers are teaching the students online, and the students are home with their parents. But it's closer to that kind of situation and environment, the homeschool type environment for many parents, with the students being home with either their mother or father or whatever the situation is. How are things going for the parents of the online students from what you're hearing?
What we are hearing, we are getting a lot of positive feedback on what the teachers are doing, but any of the struggles that we are getting communicated to is really it can be overwhelming, right? Because we have to remember that for a student's educational career, they are in a very structured environment, right? We have periods, we have certain amount of times, we have teachers telling them exactly what they need to do and exactly where they need to go, and they always have guidance, and they always have that structured schedule. So when you're home, that's very difficult to replicate for families. Because do you really want your student getting up at 7 o'clock and starting their work at 8 o'clock and finishing at 3? That's kind of unrealistic. So we've done everything we can to assist families, send out resources to them on what a day could look like, the different type of activities you could be doing. And so I think the biggest struggle now is just, and it's very interesting as the dust is settling and people are now getting into a routine, we haven't heard as much, but at the beginning it was very overwhelming because that time management piece of how do I do this, what do I do, do I let my child sleep until 10 o'clock, or right? So, but we've done what we could with providing resources. We've reached out to parents, and at the beginning, just because I knew that this could be an overwhelming thing, I asked the teachers on March 16th to take what you would normally do, cut that in half. Right? So the lesson that you would teach in your classroom, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again, and really have small, digestible bites of information and new content to the students, so it was manageable. So I think things are getting better. Kids are getting into a routine with the help of their parents. But at the very beginning, it was just a holy cow, what do I do type of thing.
I was wondering, do you have listening to you talk about the teachers on video online and the students on video online? I'm guessing the students have what they call a webcam near their computer to video the student, but I'm just guessing that, I don't know, but do you have a cameraman for each teacher? I was thinking of a teacher using a dry erase board or a chalkboard or whatever you use these days in school. How does that work?
Sure, yeah, all of the devices that we purchase, we purchase with a webcam on the laptop. So 7 through 12 is 1-to-1, so every one of our students in 7th through 12th grade has their own device that they're able to use, and all those have webcams, so they can easily participate in a Zoom session. The teachers also have laptops that have webcams as well. Many of the teachers are doing lessons on cell phones, they're doing iMovies, things like that. They're being very resourceful. And in the elementary school, I think it was the second week that we were closed, we did a technology survey, and we had 411 families respond, which was absolutely phenomenal for a survey for a school. And we felt that covered probably 90% of our student population, and we found out that there were 13% of our families that didn't have Wi-Fi access at home. We asked them, the elementary families, do you need a device at home? Do you have one? Do you need one? So we were able to deploy over 100 devices in the elementary school to families that needed them. As you know, we put out some Wi-Fi access points all across the district. We have a fairly large district. We're over 180 square miles. So we have a lot of territory to cover, and we purchased some Verizon hotspots and put them in different locations where, through the survey, we had some data that said, okay, this part of the district needs something out there. So we have one in Greenwood, we have one in Howard, we have one down in South Canisteo at the bottom of the swale, because a lot of people up on the swale didn't have internet access or poor internet access. We have one at your location, and we were very thankful to the Addison Central School District to allow our students to go to their Valley Elementary School in Cameron Mills and use their Wi-Fi. So we've done everything we possibly can to get technology into the hands of our students so they can participate. That's our biggest worry, and not just in Canisteo Greenwood, but everywhere, and all across the country, is that inequality of technology access. So you have students that are able to attend a Zoom session, and then you have some students that cannot. So they don't have that connection with the teacher. They don't have that connection with the other students. And we are sending packets at home and sending work home, but it's not the same. But to get 100% participation in a rural area like this is almost impossible. But we're doing everything that we can to stay connected to our students and letting them know that we're here and we love them and miss them.
Sure thing. We're talking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Now, one of the classes I've been wondering about that students are not able to do in person because they're at home these days, obviously, is gym class. Are there any instructions to the students to do push-ups or sit-ups or any kind of exercises while they're at home, or you just how's that work?
Yeah, they've actually done a really good job with. I know in the high school level, and I'm not sure about the elementary, but they have a weekly bingo where the students have to do certain activities, and they have a bingo board, and they have to fill out the spots of all the things that they did, whether it's going for a walk or doing the dishes or helping with yard work. And so they've done a fantastic job with reaching out to the students and giving them opportunities to be active. And I'm assuming that includes exercises and things like that, but it was more about just getting up, moving around, and being active during this closure.
Very interesting. Speaking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The Ryan Agencies, your local, independent insurance agencies. The Ryan Agency employs 15 of your friends and neighbors. They live, shop, and support our community. When you buy insurance from the Ryan Agency, you support local families. Contact the Ryan Agencies today, your local source for all things insurance.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
Hungry for something different? Go to this website, getlocaltakeout.com, for a list of restaurants still offering takeout in our area. Getlocaltakeout.com is brought to you in support of local restaurants by the Ryan Agencies and mysticmedia.com.
We're speaking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook, who's been nice enough to come on with us live this morning here on the Newsmaker show. And speaking of food, which we just heard about in that commercial, how's the school meal program going at Canisteo Greenwood? Is it pickup, delivery, both?
It's both right now. We started at the very beginning because it was part of the executive order that we needed to provide meals. So we have a location at the Canisteo Greenwood Elementary School right here in Canisteo from 10 to 12. And we also have one at the Greenwood School from 10 to 12. And that's for pickup. And then we deliver 3 days a week. So we are, right now, we're pushing about 700 meals a day since we started. And it hasn't, the number has not gone down. It's actually increased weekly. So we have more people. I think once the reality hit that we are going to be closed for a little bit, people are starting to take advantage of the meal program, and we're adding people to our delivery almost on a daily basis. So it's going fantastic. I cannot say enough about the cafeteria workers and the bus drivers that have been coming in during this closure, and just, they're rock stars. They're doing a great job, and with zero complaints, right? The essential employees that they are. And I could not be more proud of what's been going on in the meal program.
Sure thing. How about graduation plans for the class of 2020? What are you thinking there at this point, Tom Crook?
Yeah, we wrote a letter to them a little while back, and I promised that we would have a ceremony for them. We have to. We owe it to them. I feel for them. All of the lasts that they're supposed to be experiencing right now, they're not, with prom and sports seasons and everything that they're senior trip, all the things that they're supposed to be doing. So we owe them a graduation. So I told my principal, Pete Reynolds, that the month of May is going to be our month to really, once we hear what's going on with school, to really button down and work with the guidance department on what a graduation ceremony would look like. Because who knows, by June 26th, what the CDC regulations are. We might be able to have a whole ceremony where everyone can come, but we might not. So we're thinking about doing something up on the football field as we normally would do, where we can easily spread out the chairs on the field for the graduates, and just allowing parents to come, and then we could live feed the graduation ceremony so other families could see what's going on and participate in it electronically. We've also thought about reaching out to you and having it radio broadcasted. So we have thought about it, and once we get, Governor Cuomo is supposed to be coming out today or tomorrow with his executive order on what schools are going to be doing for the remainder of the school year. So once we hear that, but I will tell you that on June 26th, there will be a ceremony of some sort for these students.
You spoke of the football field there in your answer, Superintendent Tom Crook. I'm just kind of curious, how are the spring athletes taking things, not being able to play baseball, softball, etc., track, you name it?
Yeah, they're definitely missing it. Our coaches have been reaching out to the students from the beginning of the closure, saying, hey, we're not sure exactly what's going to be going on here, but here are the things that you can be doing in the interim to keep yourself prepared for a season if we have one. NISPA came out Monday with their announcement that they were going to cancel the state championships, which I thought was a great idea, because what that does is it opens up the window for the opportunity for at least some kind of play time this spring. But really it all depends on what the executive order comes down today or tomorrow with schools. So if we're able to open up in mid-May and have a month or a month and a half of a season, we've won. But it really all depends on what that executive order is going to tell us.
How about a summer sports season to take the place of a spring sports season? Any talk of that?
No. Really, when it comes to summer, we have to operate contractually, right? So our contracts with our teachers, with our support staff, really with everyone, starts July 1. So if we were to ask anyone to come in over the summer, right, it would be, I'm sure they would do it. But again, looking at what information that we're going to get from the governor, he's also going to tell us about summer school. That's definitely one of the things we've been talking about is summer school, because Hornell has a regional high school that they run for students to go up for credit recovery. Here at Canisteo Greenwood, we have an enrichment program where we have students come in. So it's kind of a wait and see to what happens in the summer and what's happening with COVID. But as far as a sports season in the summer, I doubt you're going to see it. You could see your Babe Ruth leagues and things like that. But as far as picking up a track or a baseball that was supposed to happen in the spring and push it into the summer, I really don't see that happening.
Okay. Back to the online classes topic. Are there any daycare centers that are taking care of students and or anyone with a babysitter doing online classes? How's that work, Tom Crook?
That's a great question. I haven't really heard at the very beginning of the closure, again with the executive order, the continuation of education, the meal program, and schools being the conduit for child care for essential employees and essential workers. So I did reach out to Bobby Morgan at the Hornell Children's Home and talk to her about the availability and things like that. But I know without a shadow of a doubt there are kids that are going to either babysitters or grandparents' house during the day while their essential, their parents who are essential employees are going out and working, where they're doing stuff there. We had a couple weeks ago, we had a family reach out, and we had to assist them at their grandparents' house getting connected to Wi-Fi. So I'm sure it's happening, and people are being resourceful and doing what they need to do.
Okay, down to the last 60 seconds or so with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Tom, was there anything I did not bring up that you wanted to cover?
Not that I can think of. I just, with everything that's going on all across the state, all across this county, and especially in this district, that I cannot say enough and how proud I am of what our teachers are doing, what our employees are doing. We got thrown into something that there wasn't a plan for, and we're building the plane as it's taking off, and I think we're doing a really good job at it. We're continuing to ascend, and this is going to make, I told the teachers a little while back that this is going to make us a stronger district when we come out of it.
Making the best of a bad situation. Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook, thank you so much for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Stay with us. We've got a little bit of Congressman Tom Reed's media call from this week coming up after the local news and weather. And then at 8:45, the St. James doctors, Dr. Ismail Mayer, Dr. John Robshaw, and St. James CEO Brian O'Donovan. Stay with us.